It feels like a punch to the gut every time I think about it. The weight of it all, the betrayal, the loss, the endless nights where I could barely breathe. I'm sure you felt it before. That moment when life seems to take everything you've worked for and just shatters it in an instant. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what to do. I thought I could hold on to everything, but the more I tried to grip it all, the more I lost myself. I was angry. I wanted revenge. I wanted to make them feel the pain I was feeling. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Something clicked in my head, like a switch turning on. I began to understand what I'd been holding on to all this time. The anger, the resentment, the need to be right, to prove myself. It had consumed me. I had spent years thinking I needed to hold on to everything. My job, my status, my relationships, my reputation. I thought that if I kept holding on, nothing could break me. But in reality, it was what I was holding on to that was breaking me. I was suffocating, trapped by the very things I thought I couldn't let go of. I used to think that letting go meant weakness, that it was somehow a defeat, a surrender. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about freeing yourself from the chains that bind you. It's about understanding that not everything is meant to stay in your life. Some things, people, situations, even memories, are only meant to serve a purpose for a time. When that purpose is done, holding on to them only stunts your growth. It wasn't easy. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I remember the moment vividly, the moment when I finally realized I had to let go. It was a cold evening, the kind where the sky seemed to hang heavy with everything I couldn't let go of. I was sitting in my car, parked at the side of the road, the city lights flickering around me, their brightness mocking the darkness I felt inside. My mind was a storm, a constant whirlpool of thoughts that refused to settle. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly I thought I might snap it in half. I was holding on to the past like it was the only thing I had left, but then I asked myself something simple, something so clear and profound that it almost stunned me. What would happen if I just let go? What would happen if I stopped running? What if I stopped clinging to everything that had hurt me? What if I stopped seeking revenge and just let go? That moment was a turning point. It was as if everything around me slowed down. The noise of my thoughts dimmed, and I could hear the silence. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt peace. Not because everything was fixed, but because I realized that my peace didn't depend on anything outside of myself. It never had. Letting go wasn't a magical fix. It didn't erase the pain. But it gave me something far more powerful. It gave me control. For the first time in a long time, I was no longer a victim of my circumstances. I was no longer a slave to the past. I chose what I held on to and what I chose to leave behind. The truth is, we all have things we cling to. Maybe it's a grudge we can't seem to let go of, or the fear of losing something we think defines us. Maybe it's the bitterness from a failed relationship, or the guilt of a past mistake. We carry these things with us, thinking that if we just hold on long enough, they'll eventually mean something. But they don't. They weigh us down. They hold us back. I've learned that holding on to things that no longer serve you is like carrying a heavy bag up a mountain. The higher you go, the heavier it gets. Eventually, you'll collapse under the weight of it all. But when you let go, when you drop the baggage, you become lighter. You free yourself. It's a strange thing, this letting go. It doesn't always feel like a victory. At first, it feels like loss, like surrender. It feels like giving up. But then you realize, it's only when you let go that you can truly move forward. And in moving forward, I found something I had never anticipated. Freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from escaping your problems, but the freedom that comes from accepting them, learning from them, and then walking away from them. I realized that I don't need to hold on to every moment, every memory, every person. Not everything is meant to stay. And that's okay. It wasn't just the people I had to let go of. It was the need for approval, the pressure to always be perfect, the fear of failure. It was the idea that I had to have it all figured out. When I let go of those things, I found peace. I found clarity. And most importantly, I found myself. You see, Stoicism teaches us that control lies in our response. not in our circumstances. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it. And sometimes the best response is to simply let go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need for validation. Let go of the past and embrace the future with open arms. I won't lie to you. There were moments when I wanted to pick up the pieces to fix everything, but I realized that not every broken thing needs to be fixed. Some things are better left in the past, where they belong. I learned that letting go doesn't mean that you've given up. It doesn't mean that you've lost. It's quite the opposite. Letting go is an act of strength. It's a way of taking back control over your life, of deciding what you want to carry with you and what you want to leave behind. It's about creating space for something new, for something better. The people who betrayed me, they're no longer my concern. The things that hurt me, I've let them go. And in doing so, I've found my peace. I've found my purpose. I've found my power. Justice, in the end, wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about getting back at those who hurt me. Justice was in the freedom I gave myself when I chose to let go. When I stopped allowing my past to dictate my future, when I stopped allowing my pain to control my life. That was my justice. So to anyone out there holding on to something, a grudge, a fear, a mistake, ask yourself, what would happen if you let go? What would happen if you freed yourself from the weight of your past and embraced the peace that lies ahead? I had no idea what was waiting for me on the other side of letting go. I didn't know it would be so liberating, but once I took that step, once I truly released everything I thought I couldn't live without, everything started to fall into place. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the weight lifted from my shoulders. The anger, the bitterness, the resentment, they started to lose their grip on me. The tighter I held on to them, the more they held me back. Letting go was like shedding old skin, leaving behind something that no longer served me. I remember walking down the street one evening, the city buzzing around me, people rushing past, each caught in their own world. For the first time in ages, I felt light. My steps felt more purposeful, my heart more at ease. I could breathe again. The world hadn't changed, but my perspective had. I was no longer carrying the weight of the past on my back. And that's when it hit me. The freedom I was searching for wasn't outside of me. It wasn't in the job I held on to or the approval I once sought. It wasn't in the relationships I had clung to, hoping they would fix me. The freedom I had been chasing was always within me, buried beneath all the things I thought I couldn't let go of. Stoicism teaches us that what we control is how we respond to the world around us. I can't control the actions of others, the decisions they make, or how they treat me. But I can control how I react. I can choose to let go, to not allow the mistakes of the past to dictate my present. I can choose to release the weight and make space for something better. That was the lesson I had been missing all along. Letting go doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're passive or giving up. On the contrary, it takes a tremendous amount of strength to accept that some things just aren't meant for you anymore. It takes courage to walk away from the things that hurt you, to let go of what's holding you back, and to trust that something better is waiting for you. And when I finally let go, I found that something better. I found a sense of peace I had never known. It wasn't that everything became perfect overnight. Life didn't suddenly become easy, and the challenges didn't disappear. But I learned how to face them differently. I learned how to navigate the storms without letting them drown me. I learned how to rise above the noise, how to stay calm in the face of chaos, how to take control of my life without feeling the need to control everything around me. The more I practiced letting go, the more I realized that it's not just an act of releasing the past. It's also about embracing the present. It's about allowing yourself to be fully engaged with the moment without being haunted by what was. I began to notice the little things I had been too blind to see before. The way the sunlight filtered through the trees, the sound of laughter in the distance, the feeling of my feet on the ground. These were the things that truly mattered. These were the things that made life beautiful. I started to make decisions based on what aligned with my values, not out of fear or obligation. I let go of the need to prove myself to others, and instead focused on proving myself to the person I needed to be. Someone who lived with integrity, with purpose, with peace. And as I let go, I also began to attract the right people into my life. The ones who understood that life isn't about holding on to everything, but about moving with the flow of it. The ones who were willing to grow with me, to support me, to challenge me in the right ways. The ones who saw me for who I truly was, not for the version I thought I had to be. I realized that when I let go of the toxic relationships, the ones based on expectations and control, I made room for the ones that nourished me. But letting go also taught me something about my own character. It wasn't just about letting go of others. It was about letting go of the parts of myself that were holding me back. The fear, the insecurity, the need to be perfect. Letting go meant allowing myself to be flawed, to be human. It meant accepting that I don't have to have it all figured out. That's the beauty of Stoicism. It teaches us to embrace what we cannot change and to work on what we can. And the most powerful lesson of all, letting go of what doesn't serve you doesn't just free you, it empowers you. It opens up space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new growth. It allows you to live more fully, more intentionally, without the weight of the past dragging you down. I'm not the same person I was before I let go. I'm stronger, wiser, and more at peace with who I am. And in letting go, I found a new version of myself. Someone who is free to move forward, someone who no longer needs the past to define them. If you're holding on to something, whether it's a grudge, a failed dream, or a relationship that's no longer serving you, I encourage you to ask yourself, what would happen if you let go? What would it feel like to release that burden, to stop carrying the weight of the past? I can tell you, it feels like freedom. It feels like peace. It feels like the beginning of something new. And when you let go, you'll find that justice isn't always about getting even. It's about taking back your life, taking back your power, and choosing to move forward no matter what. So if this story resonated with you, if you feel like it's time to let go of something in your life, I want to hear from you. Leave a like if you found peace in this message. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe to The Modern Stoic. Together, let's keep growing, learning, and embracing the peace that comes from letting go.